Yo, what's good, YouTube? Got a little COD gameplay for you today. So today it's been announced that NBA season like it's returning, July 31st. I'll include the tweet up in the somewhere in the video, but yeah, that's a pretty interesting take. Everybody was kind of in the loop with the whole COVID-19 situation. A lot of people thought, that NBA season might not resume, or a lot of players like, Jared Dudley, we've seen Spencer Dinwiddie kind of voice that, this was something they've been talking about in the dark, probably close to the players and agents, that season could resume around July, August. The talks is still about probably they resume play in playing in Orlando or in Vegas, or one and not the other. Not really know what terms, but what do you guys think about that? I think it's pretty interesting that how eager the players still want to play, because a lot of players like Damian Lillard just came out and said recently that if his team isn't qualified to make the playoffs, that he doesn't even want to participate. Like, he'll just sit out, which is it's understandable. As far as preserving his body, just getting right for the next season. It's really, if he's already out of contention, I can understand why he doesn't feel like he needs to play. As far as other teams like the Grizzlies, the Pelicans, and all the other teams, I can't remember who's really still in the playoff race, but those teams definitely have a good amount of reason to want to resume the season. Personally, I feel like before the season stopped, that the Lakers had like probably the best chance of winning the title, to me, in my opinion. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comment section below. It really felt like the Lakers and the Bucks was going to be headed for a crash course. Like that was definitely going to be the finals matchup. Now with the having to resume play, it's kind of up in the air now, because we don't even know how the season is gonna be played. We don't know if it's gonna be a tournament. They had talked about a tournament. We don't know if it's gonna go back to regular how it was, just resume, throw a couple games in there just for everybody to get back in game shape, and then start the playoffs shortly after that. Probably around, since they're targeting July, I think 31st, I believe it said. July 31st, probably the playoffs will start, maybe, I'm assuming, probably about maybe 2 weeks or so after that. So it'll be interesting. NBA always had like a little, you know, I they always wanted to test the waters about a in-season tournaments, kind of how they do in college, or possibly a play-in tournament. They could also experiment right now. So it'll be very interesting to see. We know players like James Harden, they already voiced their opinion in the past when tournaments have been brought up. The idea of tournaments, that it's not college. NBA is different than college. There's no tournaments in NBA. Tournaments is more for March Madness and stuff like that. Personally, I feel like I kind of agree that I don't want to see tournament play in the NBA. It's just a personal preference. I like the traditional style, how it is. Also, I know that they're contemplating on having whoever does make the playoffs, it would be 1 through 16 straight up, just best records versus best records to worst records, instead of having the conferences split. And on that note, I definitely disagree with that one, because it it really it really changes up how the season was going. The West was so stacked, and it really just throws a curveball when you go from possibly having like a great first round matchup, probably like I don't remember what seed off the top of my head. Probably like the first round matchup could have been like the Clippers versus the probably like the Nuggets or something like that, or potentially like Clippers versus or something like that. Something where you miss out on like a great key matchup in possibly even the first round. So if you go through 1 through 16, it's just it really changes everything up. Possibly it could be easier for some teams. Possibly it could be harder. But I like the traditional style, of just going east and west. I know with the talks of resuming play, the Western Conference will most likely, if they did play in Vegas, most likely Western Conference teams will play in Vegas, and then the Eastern Conference teams will play in Orlando, which is fine. That's pretty pretty reasonable to do. I don't see what the issue would be with that. I did see someone on Twitter talk about how if that is the case, it's a team like the Lakers though. If they play in Vegas, the Lakers are such a global brand, that it's almost like a home court advantage to a team. The person on Twitter, I don't have the actual tweet, but I've just seen somebody references, so it's a good point. The Lakers are such a global brand that them playing in Vegas is essentially like a home game. If you ever watched any summer league games featuring the Lakers or preseason games featuring the Lakers, when they play in Vegas, that crowd is very similar to Staples Center. So that is a good point as far as like a team like I don't know, let's say if they did hold the Western Conference teams in Vegas, a team like the Jazz, if they play the Lakers in technically the playoffs in Vegas, there's going to be way more Laker fans than Jazz fans. And then that's another thing also that you can kind of go back and forth with. Should there be fans? With the coronavirus thing, we've seen a lot of players voice that fans are just as important to the game as are the players. Fans give you the players that extra fuel, the extra incentive to come back from a 15-point deficit, or to keep the pedal on the gas pedal, keep the foot on the gas pedal. So that's interesting. Personally, I don't really know where I would really stand on that, because it's kind of tough to regulate if we're always was taught during this quarantine season to avoid large crowds and such like that having a sporting event where obviously there's a vast big amount of crowds and you're close to proximity to each other, it's kind of hard to say whether or not it's worth putting the fans. But at the same time, I know definitely as a viewer and as a fan of the game, watching it with no fans is definitely will be very awkward. I guess for the players, it would sort of be like playing. I know in New York they have Black Ops basketball, and even that sometimes it's a little crowd in there. It's not completely just silent, you know. So in a sense, some players might be somewhat used to it, but all in all, it definitely would be a big adjustment for players and for viewers watching on television, watching the game without any fans at all. You just, you can hear Melo saying, "Get the F out of here," on his rebounds. I don't know why. I don't know why that's a thing for Melo, but shout out to Melo. It was his birthday today. But yeah, it'd be very interesting to see if they do resume the season. The talks just seem like it's progressing well for them to resume the season July 31st, and hopefully they do, man, because it's been very tough not having sports. Limited sports cut off in March, right before the playoffs too. The season was going great. It was a great season. Nobody knows who's gonna win. My pick is still the Lakers, of course. But yeah, it was a very good season, very exciting season. First season in a while where really no one can really just for surely say, oh, this team is gonna win, like the Warriors. Like everybody knew the Warriors was gonna get to the finals unless they hit an injury bug. This year, that's not the case. There's at least like 4 teams you can legit say have a very good shot at making the finals and winning it. So hopefully they do resume the season, and yeah, I guess we just have to wait and see around July 31st and see if season resumes. But that wraps up the video right there. Comment your opinions down below. What do you think about the possible restart to NBA season? Is it good or is it bad? Let us know. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that noti bell. Stay up to date with the latest videos that we post. Thank you.